As you know, last month Donald Trump was elected as the U.S. president for the second time. American elections have always mattered for Europe, but this one is particularly significant given the stark differences between Trump and Harris on the EU, Ukraine, and NATO. In this video, we'll explore how Trump's policies could shape Europe's future, how European countries might respond to Trump's second term, and what this means for the broader transatlantic relationship. Before we start, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing and ringing the bell so you're notified when we release new videos. From a European perspective, the most pressing foreign policy concern is Ukraine, along with the question of NATO's overall cohesion. Trump has repeatedly claimed that he will end the war in Ukraine very quickly, suggesting that he could negotiate a deal between Russia and Ukraine as soon as he takes office, or even beforehand. He has hinted at having a very specific plan, but insists on keeping it secret to maintain the element of surprise. Naturally, this talk makes officials in Kiev and across Europe uneasy. They worry that a rushed deal could benefit Russia or at least fail to meet Ukraine's long-term goals, such as reclaiming all its pre-2014 territory. While that full restoration seems unlikely in the short term, it remains central to Ukraine's aims. Anxieties were heightened by comments from U.S. Senator J.D. Vance, who suggested creating a demilitarized zone along current front lines and advocated for Ukraine's neutrality rather than NATO membership. Since NATO has already opened the door for Ukraine, and Kiev believes NATO membership is the only reliable way to protect itself against future Russian aggression, any push for neutrality runs against Ukraine's interests. If Ukraine resists such a settlement, Trump might threaten to withhold military aid, forcing Ukraine's hand unless other NATO allies step in, or Ukraine chooses to continue fighting without full U.S. support. Moscow may not be pleased about a quick deal either. The Kremlin's stated goals are ambitious, involving territory it doesn't fully control. A settlement that freezes the lines or pushes Ukraine into neutrality might not meet Russia's maximalist demands. If Russia refuses the deal, it's uncertain how Trump would respond. European leaders fear he might offer more concessions to Moscow, but Trump has also suggested at times that he might increase support to Ukraine if Russia doesn't cooperate. This unpredictability leaves Europeans guessing. NATO's future also hangs in the balance. While a total U.S. withdrawal is unlikely, Trump will certainly pressure other member states to spend more on defense. He has even hinted that countries not meeting their commitments might not be automatically defended. This could undermine the alliance's fundamental principle of collective defense and leave some European capitals feeling less secure. On the economic front, Trump's approach to trade could affect Europe as well. He has threatened broad tariffs on imports, including those from the EU, potentially at 10% or even 20%. In his first term, actual tariffs were less severe than his campaign rhetoric suggested, but now he openly compares the EU to China, pointing out that both run large trade surpluses with the U.S. Such tariffs might hurt European economies, especially major exporters like Germany, and could encourage European manufacturers to shift production to the U.S., accelerating Europe's deindustrialization. How will Europe respond? Some argue that facing a more inward-looking U.S. could finally push Europe toward greater cooperation, strategic autonomy, and less reliance on Washington, something French leaders have long advocated. Others believe the EU will try to ride out a second Trump term, just as it did the first, with damage control and a wait-and-see approach, hoping the next American president returns to a more traditional Atlanticist stance. A more pessimistic take suggests that Trump's return might deepen existing divides within Europe. Leaders like Viktor Orban share certain aspects of Trump's worldview, making it harder for the EU to maintain a united front. What was once a relatively cohesive response during Trump's first term could now fracture, complicating Europe's ability to form coherent defense, foreign, and economic policies. This uncertainty puts Europe at a crossroads. Will a second Trump term mark the beginning of the end for the transatlantic alliance, or could it push Europe toward becoming a more independent and proactive global player? Only time will tell as policies unfold, and both sides adjust to a shifting balance of power. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. We'll see you next time.